Alright, now the Tabachim Big Yamlin and Yamsuling, Anzudelia, Jaliata, Tabachim Chekarichevena, Tambokuno, Janjusim Yesimba Chukure, Chesnata, Janjusim Yes, Janjusim Sadi, Tabachim Big You, Zorechet, Sanjo Komotobe, Janjusim Jimakevaina, and it Gawakan Trubne, and it Tabachim Big Lam Chago. Yuchago Mare, Tabachim Lam Chago Mare, the names are Janjusim Gedi Bore, said. That's some Jetamji no Sanjo Komotobala, Tambo Janjusim Geore, said. That Janjusim Gevala, Tanganji, Tambo Janjusim Ge Pain Gepa, Pain Tong, Janjusim Pain Tone, but the Janjusim Bigi, Pain and Chigi Yi Tone, but the Bear Woodwa, that's Medidi, Yaman Jago, that's big, then but the Dunir Dumbaje, and then. Yamsulengo Winza, Janjusim Pensive, Gapta Chago Liu di Chagorwa.
Good evening. So, for any virtuous practice to be considered a practice of the Mahayana, it needs to be conjoined with the mind of enlightenment, conjoined with bodhicitta. So, therefore, without bodhicitta, whatever virtue is cultivated is not included within the Mahayana. Hence, the cultivation or the generation of bodhicitta is so important. So therefore, right at the outset of our text, the benefits of bodhicitta are presented so as to give the students, ourselves, through reflecting on the benefits of bodhicitta, so as to for us to generate a yearning to cultivate bodhicitta within us, and thereby a determination to generate bodhicitta ourselves.
Dine Zada Anzuki Janjusim Yalenche, Payan Shipeka Benzada, Anzu Janjusim Kasa, Dine Janjusim Batiki, Jizana, Anzu Janjusim Batelia, and Duba Weba, and Chisu Iran, Janjusim Yunden, Tong, Janjusim Yunda, Tone, Delian, Chiki, Delian, Duba Chia, Duba Webares, and Dela Chisuchira, Jeobares says. Dine Zada Anzu Chipena, Anzu Chidelia. And Jiggy, Anzuki, Tambo Pa, Shanley, Pembaji troop, and Jelia, and then Anzu Pembaji Jiggy, Tulia, and Jiggy Jesu, Anzulia, Robochia, and Pembaji Trubaina, and then Anzuki Galawas, all the media produce, betting Anzulia, Anzu Pa, Tambo Yawocheva, the truth, some Yawotanji, Yawot Robochi, chasing to us in Beggy the Negi, and the Jiggy, Dungaruch, Dangor was, or bit dination down the dealer, how much you sent us at it. 저기 가수래 미유 심제 탐지게 된다라 삼 미유디야 심제 탐지게 된다 근데 지진한 주디 심제 다 가수래 대시베디 뒤로 가서 나무 베디 네 진다 미지게 다 신뢰야 안지게 뭐보로 칼라로 제로지 진바따바 있나 그 진바따와래 세디 안에 심전 가 자라지래 진바따는 그 계심 진바슈 당선 빼 야보지기도 심비게 동았던 거로 베디나진다 전주 심바세디 안에 미유 심전 탐지게 된다 심전 탐지를 미바다 안에 뒤네 안에 뒤다 넘버 탐지 심전 탐지 상년마 이게 봐도 심전 탐지 펜버도야 안에 지게 개화로시네 샘자 탐지 세디 되게 맞지 세디를 되게 좋아 맞지 안에 타도게 되와 산지고 고방 토비 치도 안에 펜버주고 그래 지산 되네게 안에 세디 되게 좋다 개화치마 하다 미기 되게 돼야 안 타도 안에 가소리 띵게 되와 탐지 캠페 이시게 되와 라나메바파 되지고 와스 지산 되네게 되버 되네 안에 샘자 탐지게 삼바 조과 지고래 되네 자다 전주 선바세야 뱀마시기 지게 게진 첨보다 판도치 뭐 쉬우래 대자 전주 선바야 되네게 전주 선바들라는 다도네 되네 판도 주간 전주 선바들라 나고요 바래 사디 대가 저기 사디 그녀마데 되네 쉬루와
So in our text thus far, we have concluded the presentation on the many remarkable benefits of bodhicitta. Thereafter, we came to the final section, which in this chapter, which is praising those who have generated bodhicitta, the bodhisattvas themselves, praising them and rejoicing in their good qualities. And the two verses we looked at last week, verses 32 and 33, these presented the comparison between ordinary people and bodhisattvas, with a comparison made that someone in the world who gives charity, perhaps offering food or sustenance to a few people, or perhaps even 100 people, such a person is praised, as seen as a kind and generous person. But even such a person, when compared to the bodhisattva, what they give and how they give it pales in comparison to the bodhisattva. Because what a bodhisattva gives, first of all, in terms of to whom, it's not just to a countable number of people, 5, 10, 100, but each and every single being, so therefore numberless, uncountable beings. Moreover, the time period isn't just a single meal, or perhaps for a period such as a week or a month or a year, but the bodhisattva commits to helping beings, each and every being, until they achieve their own enlightenment. So therefore, the period of time cannot be compared, nor the number of beings. And then what is given is both the temporary happinesses that are experienced in this very life, but in particular, the guidance that enables beings to develop the paths and their qualities, and thereby the bliss of the paths, and in particular, guiding them until they achieve liberation and enlightenment. So therefore, what is given is the bliss of enlightenment is also incomparable for what ordinary beings can give. So in addition then to the number of beings that are helped, the duration, and thirdly, what is given, the way it is bodhisattvas give is also the attitude, the mind with which they give, one of genuine love, is incomparable to what ordinary beings give with. So in this way, we saw how bodhisattvas are remarkable and incomparable, and ordinary beings cannot be compared to bodhisattvas.
Gashi diri gese jindala galde ngasim jebra jenande ngasim jebe jangshin kawani nyarwa nebra kyurje tupe sungs.
Returning to the text then, with the 34th verse. Whomever generates malevolent thoughts against such a bodhisattva benefactor will remain in hell for as many eons as such malicious thoughts the Buddha taught.
Delia Gade Gasore Gashi Gese Diri Gaza Gashi Diri Gese Jindala Diri said Dishiniele Kasan Dishuba Sigore Gashi says Simjan Kashi Gis or Kashi Gi Diri Sidan Diri Janju Sembadi Simjan Tamje Mu Simjan Tamjela me and do the number con Julia Simjan Sanji go Mato Yabado Simjan Le Pembatia Jamja com Pembaduya and Delia and Devigi Pa Jadivinia Sete Tikita Yawachima Lada Muko Tovia Tar and the Tarbata Tamji Kimbo Kovan Tamji Kimbo Kovalia Gubigi Denigi Dikidi Denigi Jene Pando Tukengi Didi said the dinner Paduga Geshe was Geshe Geshe Janju Sembade Jinda Chimbores or Dangazulia Denigi Digi Punsun Toba Dangazulia Jegenza Dangazu Raw Chicken de Jinda like Roa Dinajin that Denigi Manzulia Teddy Dikita Yawa Chimata Lada Mukovan and the Tarbata Tamji Tardu Tamji Kimbo Kovan Digi and the Chilana Mebe Dikiti Manzul Chevarche good Manzul Tigor was and the Jinda Las, Jinda Chimbo, Denike Chanchusemba de la Has or that Siktan Bodi.
The first line in Tibetan is, in English, shared between the first two lines. Whomever generates malevolent thoughts against such a bodhisattva benefactor. So this then is linking to the previous line. So whomever, so whichever ordinary being has, and then against a bodhisattva benefactor, or against such a bodhisattva benefactor. Such a refers to the bodhisattva that was described in the previous verse. Someone who holds in who has in their heart the welfare of each and every single living being, and holds them in their heart until they attain full and complete enlightenment. So this incredible duration of time, and wants to benefit beings in the greatest of ways, guide them to cultivate liberation, or to attain liberation or enlightenment themselves. So such a remarkable being, such a bodhisattva, who is seen as who plays the role of a benefactor, in that they bestow to those under their care and guidance the state of liberation. They bestow the guidance that leads to the cultivation of liberation, the guidance that leads to the cultivation of bodhicitta, the guidance that leads to the cultivation of the state of enlightenment. This is what such a bodhisattva bestows. Hence, they refer to a bodhisattva benefactor.
Dinigi jinda janju semba dela so dela ane galri ngasim ke prachena so dela janju semba dela neba chegi neba ngosu ma che baine neba che ho sembe ke dalia anjige kozo janju semba dela ya chi kuwa tab ko sembe da neba che ho sa chi dinigi samlo ngamba samlo chi denji ko ba ina so da samlo ngamba samlo chi ko ba ina shen ya ane 갈래 장주 셈바텔라 갈대 ngasim ge barchena denige samlo khowana dibo paudome ba dibo chimbu shusagore ejireda.
The second line in the Tibetan, we have as most of the first line, generates malevolent thoughts. So this is against such a bodhisattva. So whomever generates malevolent thoughts against them accumulates vast non-virtue. So here we see two terms. There's the intentional thoughts that are generated, as well as they are of significant strength. So it's the wish for harm to come to the bodhisattva.
Never give a net of Kuat Tapje, Kuat, Jansen by the court in there, Yomara Sadam, Cotton Jiggy, Kahu Yomar said, Cotton Jiggy Shingo Marco, doing she was Kuat Tabanet, didn't she have another deep bottom of a Chagor, Sagors, then Jig Gulia, and Jigan, Nusia, Ungrua, Nusia, Dinigi Chabanet, deep bottom, Dimase, Dinigi Nusa Majaba in there, Kuat Tapje, Dinigi jeans and begin in a Kunola, some of the niche cover in there. Dipo bottom of a sagor, Eche, Chesangasim Gaber Chena, Janju Semba Della, Samba Ngamba, Kolia, Nebe Samba, and Sewe, Samba Kunorich, Mosu Tewada, Mosu Majeba in there, Sewe Chewata Kunos, Ngambachi, Samba Samgi, Janju Semba Della, Niti, Kolia, Digi, Kolji, Tamariba, Yoad, Sugis and Picadelia, and then Kunung Ambachi Gabina, Dipo bottom of a sagor, Eso, Nansim Gabercha, the sick Dona, Tambo Sydney, Donadira, Donala.
Looking at the first two lines together, whomever generates malevolent thoughts against such a bodhisattva benefactor. So here we imagine someone who is either active, who is generating the thought and possibly acting out the thought of malevolent thoughts towards a bodhisattva. So either wanting harm to come to them or expressing harmful thoughts towards a bodhisattva will accumulate vast stores of non-virtue. So, for example, would be someone criticizing a bodhisattva, saying the bodhisattva is no good, this bodhisattva or this person cannot be trusted, they are dishonest, they have no good qualities. So someone who's engaging in harmful behavior, or has even the thought to do so, accumulates vast negativities.
Adine ane diba dine chenpo sawa na dibi ge dewu di ane kana chungri labna tang ngasim gebe jashin kawa ni nyawa nebar gyuru she tubi sung se de ci di ni si war da ji sang ngasim gebe ge samlo dilya ngi ji ngamba ku dine kunlo chi samlo ji nga chen sem betelya ngi ji kun neba chi dine ji yin sem bi kunlo ji gebe na ngasim geba jashin se de jang se de geji ma se wo geji ta benang ha ju du chene dine sewa chi tobe kabla dide ba cha juju reji chebaina ani ji cha reje gi jigla ko sem delia geji gi dine gi cha gaze na cha ju gaze yebena cha jugu ring le kebaina cha jugu ring le ya di gaze nyewa ji ru gure da kan le janju sem ba lo ko dine ngasum ge na debu kawase nyewa ji gres ngawa din jeba na da nyawa ne gi duzuru ji ga ji ni orasne chesan kawa Kijik Dinigi Drang, Kijik Yatama Tabana, Gayuna, Ringla, Kijik Yatam be Ringla, and then the Jingas with the Chuse Chara Ringla Kiwasa, the Yungua, Chuse, Chizan Dinigi, Kijik Yatam be Ringla, Nasim, somebody Kidio Bayana, Chizan Kijik Carrilla, Kijik Relia, and the Kawa Chichik, Newa Newa Chagri, yes, Chida Kijik Kayana Kawa Yatamba, Newa Newa, yes, all that.
The result of such malevolent thoughts is presented in the final two lines. Will remain in hell for as many eons as such malicious thoughts, the Buddha taught. Here, someone who has has malicious thoughts towards a bodhisattva and perhaps expresses them, or perhaps just has the wish to do so, for as many moments as those thoughts abide, for that many eons they will abide in hell.
Chicken never cheba nada, Tawa Jevana, Dili, and the Diva chair Sagiros. Then it's how also much of an Tavia, some never check, some Kuno Tamji Cabana, Kuno de Kiji Kaze, Bardonia, and Kiji di Dana, Nyambigi, and then Panya, Panya Wayagi, Neche, Nyawa Neche, and the Dusin Kiawagi, and Lea Sagores, Chizan Diva Dus Sagor, Diva Chamboshure, such more.
The meaning of this verse is that for whatever duration one has malicious thoughts towards a bodhisattva, immense non-virtue will follow. And it is presented through the scale of, for as many moments as one has malicious thoughts towards a bodhisattva, for that long one will abide in the hells. In terms of, for that many eons one will abide in the hells.
Zada Denegi Janju Sambachila, Dene Samang, Denishke, and the Divachimasa, the Karelamna, Chisa, Janju Samba said the genial shed, Janju Samba said, Pech, Simjan Tamji Donala, sometimes Simjan Tamjel Pandoshek, some Tangores. Chisa, the Ha Simjan Tamji Dunda Dunga Siada, Simjan Tamji Dunga, Seven Bashana Jabba, Yomoba said, Yomoba Bashana Jabba say a tablet and some Tayada, and Dini Tardu Sanji Gopang. And the Jiggy, Lana may be Dewadi Pa, and the Simjel Pa, Dear Simjan, Delia Guegi, and Dusin, the Charlie Nangores. Chisa, the Nigi, some not Yachimbo, Chidan, do part me by Yachimbo, the Nigi Charlie, the Nigi Gawa doing in Delia, that's something China, and Divachimosa was crossing. And Dimazi that Janju Sembadi Yamlan Jabala Dene, and Sanyogo want to war. It's not that Janju Sembala never kid, Sanye de never Chagores. Chesa Dineza, Digi Kinjina, Diginza, Janju Sembalia, Janiki Kishi some Javan and Divachimo Sagiri, Saji, to Sumu to other than that.
The reason why the karmic result of harming a bodhisattva or wanting to harm a bodhisattva is so grave is because bodhisattvas have as their heart wish to benefit all sentient beings. And this is not just a mere wish, but they are actively engaging in helping all sentient beings, and not helping sentient beings in trivial, meaningless ways, but rather helping beings in the most important ways, guiding them to attain freedom from suffering. So when one has a harsh thoughts, and especially if one expresses those, one is obstructing all sentient beings from receiving benefit from that bodhisattva. So therefore one is creating an obstacle to the spiritual development of all sentient beings. So therefore, harming a bodhisattva carries a grave karmic result.
Divachimo Sagores and Sanyo Jimnandi and the Sumare said, Donald Vadus in Sumare.
And this is something that was taught by the Buddha himself.
And then, Dodi Denishio, then Rabdu Shiva numbering a big Chujuli Dosaji, Dinas Doji or Resia. Rabdu Shiva numbering a big Chujuli Dosaji or Resia. Adina the Karasongas Jambel, the Jambel, Janju Sembe, Semba, Janjup Semba, La Kung Choa, Trovigi, semgejing and nyebigi tabshes nyeba neokuriada kuwa tibigi semgebaina and semgibi giji tisidu and kawa nyawa neokuri said. Also soon your legend. Choga Geshimene. Sugar. You're the Indian love me, you're.
The sutra in which the Buddha stated this was called the Sutra of Magical Emanation, Definitely Abiding in Strong Peace. And it's the Buddha addressing Manjushri. So Manjushri, should a bodhisattva generate anger or a criticizing mind towards another bodhisattva, then it is said for that many eons he will remain in the hells.
Then the Negi Sungor, that Nala, Jiki, Delia, Jiki, Injimidaya, Jinua, giving never your reasoning, never your marwa. The Negi changes symbol, Jikon, Sem, the Negi, Semla, number giving there, Dangan to Injimidua, Giri reasoning, never your mare. Says that machine yelling around to you, shout on Jada, Gawa Yanga, Sahu, Sana, and the Sahu, Savina, and the Yawaki Marwas. Says that Janju Semba in a Janju Sembi, Janju Semba Chilotoa, or Chikondo Kevaina, Metoa, some Denning, some long ambush Kevana, Diva Chimbusagores, Dina Sagor, and the Negi Janju Sembati, Korongita, Diva Sabi, Gawa, the Mambuji Nubar Masona, Digi, Diva Shu Chimpo in the Gavig, Nubar Masona Shu Yamson, Yamgor, yesterday. Says that Yaja, that Gawa, the Denigi to shoot, Jik Mambu Rilia, and the Yaja Gavasa, or yesterday. That's Denigi, as a Topango, compared to Tovalia, partial Mason Shu Chigo, yesterday. Says that the Joella Yaja Gawa, Gunu again, Gunu Sago, yesterday. Jesa Janju Semba Jigi, Janju Semba lo control and Asen. Janju Semba Jigi, Janju Semba Chanda Jilla, and then Koigis, Dennis Samlong number Kevana, and Divopat Sasarwada, Jesa Korongi Kewadim, that Koron Solamro Chumujina, Solam Jinglia, Joelia, and the Bachi Chimbocheres. Jesa that is Kianjak, that Masona that Jigi. And the poor on the children, the child never searched the Ajadiga never lure, I didn't see Ya Janju Jan Solam Tingu Topa Jevala, Gawa Yanja, Gunubushu Sago.
I'll read the quotation from the sutra again. Manjushri, should a bodhisattva generate anger or a criticizing mind towards another bodhisattva, then it is said for that many eons he will remain in the hells. So what we see from the sutra quotation, that should one bodhisattva get angry at another bodhisattva, then the negativity is of this magnitude. And if the question then arises, is it definite that that bodhisattva will be born in the hells? Then the answer is no, because the bodhisattva will be knowledgeable and skilled, and they can purify such negativity. And by purifying such negativity, the karmic outcome is much more likely to be a grave a mass weakening of their virtue. And that will be experienced as them struggling to progress, say, from the great level of the path of accumulation to the middle level of the path of accumulation. And this is because they've managed to purify this negativity, but they will experience a result then in a lighter way, such as the weakening of their store of virtue, and therefore they'll need to apply themselves to accumulate virtue that has now been weakened or lost. So this is a more likely outcome than necessarily being born in the hells.
And in Ashinda, Janjusama, my impang, so give around to Guinea, Jilam Yamlin Machan to Chine, Janjusamba Chilla, Denigi, Jike, semangamba kevana da dile dipa chimbo chu sagirwa jisa dinege dipa chimbo sagore je donda ni bolada dine zada ngalo ji dipa di jen janju semba ina de ngalo ji ina de dipa dinege samlo ngamba janju semba la ngembe samlo ki dipa chimbo sawana den dipa de shakdom maje ba je ngembo topshi tin je shakdom maje ba ina ane ngasole nyawa je gi da kawa jana ni be nyawa je wa chagirwa 단 야직 년보 돕시텐데야 체델레 마신엘레 소소 샤톰제 직 샤토바나 야게오 말와 나 소리기 냐와레 게화시 책 말와.
So we should understand that then in relation to ourselves, who are ordinary beings who have yet to cultivate a mental path. So if we have accumulated a non-virtue of having malevolent thoughts towards a bodhisattva, undoubtedly this is an intense non-virtue that has been accumulated. But we should recognize that and apply an antidote, and thereby we too can purify or weaken that non-virtue, and therefore not be born in the lower realms.
다 전시 sembaseya delyape denegi pando simjen ya pando dukhen re ane sangye tamje janju sem nyamlen chin ge gigo tungore jesa sangye go gofa thoye ge gyure jesa dene enza delya duchene jige ne nyoba che de pa su je nyoba dene samno samra chi ya nebe samno zanya dune gigyo mare es gigyo mare delya sabsab che gore es dene anju che gore es je andu sungor dale dire.
The meaning that we should take from this verse then is to add to our recognition of just how precious bodhisattvas are. Because Buddhas are born from bodhisattvas in that bodhicitta is the principal cause for Buddhahood. Therefore, should we harm a child of the Buddhas, a bodhisattva, we'll be harming or hindering their spiritual development, and moreover will be hindering the benefit they bring to all sentient beings. So this we need to firstly recognize and thereby guard ourselves against.
미질야 미나다 둔조이나다 데니질야 체외 삼바다 데니케르파 미나다 셈제는 술리나 직통은 될야 체외 삼바 뇌베 제베 삼노디 삼다교 말해쇼래 제가 데니게 삼다 게징아 주기 데니게 체외 삼바 뇌바시 삼노 다송에는 파주딩아서 하고 먹어서 전유선바 제레도이나 데니 디버침을 사고 그래서 제가 전유선바세야지 대간지 간지 하고 두마 통 하고 두마 제가 데니 인자 나번에 아주 술리네 아주 통해 미루다 둔조를 술리네 데리야 체외게 뇌베 삼바제 삼노디 다교 말해 데니 삽섭치고 그래서 당아주 도스는 직전에 장수 선바인 직전에 상이 인식이 지상에 되는게 체외 선바 디버 빼심을 사고 되는 삼균의 땅이야 말에 선비 도스전에 삼다전에 된 뇌비 선바디 술리나 뇌비 선바다 체외 삼라 디 삼랑 안바세 군노라디네 기교 마다교 말에 디 되는 시 냠는 제고래서 송고하다 간줄.
And then how practically we should take the meaning of this verse is that it is completely hidden to us who is and is not a bodhisattva. We have no idea which humans or animals are bodhisattvas. We have no clue. Therefore, the meaning we should take from this verse, or the practical application we should take from the meaning of this verse, is we should guard our mind from any malicious thoughts, because there is always the potential that those malicious thoughts will be directed towards someone who turns out to be a bodhisattva. So therefore we need to take care of our mind, take care of these intentional thoughts of wishing for harm to come or wishing to do harm, because if directed towards a bodhisattva, great non-virtue will be accumulated.
Samba Deniki, Yanga Chimbore, Penitentiary Sambare, Sanjiri, Tangazulia, Gabriel Langazo, Ganga Shuche, Ganga the same matter, Jigya, and Jig, Gonchualia, Chobapuya, so a dip, Jetin Chevin, and Zugana Massa, same as Jagan Teravana, Garson, that is Sangi, Sayada, Janju Semba, Shenle Pendo, Dugo, Dini, Ganzu, Dinga, Dinaka, Dinichi, Dingi, Dikanga, Sigim, Robochim, Sambegi, that is Sangi, Janju Semba, Sayadi, Shengi, Dunga, Sayada, Digi, Duelia, Chick, Nuba Yosamara, Sambegi, Dinigi, Samataya, Dinigi, Korea, Yanga, Yungurwa. I was a Danganzu, Sosurang, the Ganga Churwa, Ganga Say, Dundelia, Sangi, Janju Semba, Molam, Tap, Chichi, Cheva, Chipu, and the Ganga did Masevaina, and the Samlogar Kugos, and oh, that is Sangi, Janju Semba said, Shantin Shu Chigo, said the Ganga did Rochim, Ganga Sigimindo. She said, didn't Sangi, Janju Semba, Tinigi, Semja Hamji, Dunji Ganga said to you, Nuba Yosamar, Sambegi, then some Koreagi. Nyanga chambore di khoban da sangye da jin sembal kuwa de ba de le horwa cheza de ni yo mar da yosa mare ni kaso ni ba yosa mare sembe samda ne de ni sam no khore gi da ngul nyanga chambore da diso gyne samda mere cheza da ngul gi karasne de ji karasne Shen Janju Semba Lia, Nube Samba, and Sewe Samba said, Thank you, Mares. The Gao and Haku, thank you, Dick Pau Tingure, said Lajoa. Cesada, Dene Sang Anzulia, Samno Koreg, and Yangachi Corriores, and Dene Cablia, and oh, that Janju Semba, the Nuba Yosa, Sangelia, Jing Nuba Yosa Mare, Jin J, Nuba Yosa Mare, Jen Jing Midu Sembege, Samno Kor Sigris or Dani.
The potential dangerous thought that may well arise for us is that all of us do want to be freed of suffering and pain. None of us want to suffer. So we, with this wish to be freed of suffering, turn towards the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, requesting their guidance and their help in us attaining freedom from suffering. But yet we still are suffering. We continue to suffer. So there's always the danger that one may give up, feeling that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas lack the capacity to help us, because we turn to them yearning freedom from suffering, and yet we still suffer. So thereby, we may end up thinking they lack the capacity to help us. So there is such a danger of such a thought arising.
Do some secret that in it, Chizada Sangye, that Janju Sembelang on the Pando Chegi, some lot and Kitin and Anzolia Roche, that Pamba to go already. Then Nuba Yordina, that Anzolia, Nuba Mena, and Sangye Janju Sembelang Chetuya Mera, so Tungi Samu, Bene, 7 Jegi, 7 de la New Jegi, Nuba Mena, Delia, Luda, Chudan, and Judan, Kadas, Tushtan and New Jetuya Yomara, Karan 7 Coronia Merwa, on Dina, Sing Anzol, Sosorangida, Dinigi, Jiki. Nyonggoya da Ganga Turko Gudi Sa Sawaina and Devu Jualia and Sangye da Janju Samba Gangia, Sugan, Jiki, Dot Meva Sutuya Kalakwachaguruwa, Chizandinza, Dushene, that's Sosurang did Sangye da Janju Samba Nuba Yorde, in a Sosurang Dine Dunga Nyongway, Yema Gusavi, Dewood Mingores, that Dewood Minje, and the Gudi, the Mao Bananga Ganga Nyomo Chagores and Bege, Dushene Sam Damana, that is not Yawores or. The
way we should understand this then is that because of the incredible qualities that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas possess, they at all times have the capacity to help us, and they have the desire to benefit us. So what's lacking is not on their side, it's on our side. In that there is a relationship of dependency between the helper and the one who is helped. And we are the one wanting to be helped. But on our side, there all too often, or there may well be, a lack of the accumulation of virtue and the purification of non-virtue. So just like one may have a seed, but if it's not nourished by having sufficient water and warmth and soil, it's not going to sprout. So likewise, if we haven't, or only to the extent that we have developed qualities, can the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas guide us and thereby benefit us. So this points to the need for each of us to accumulate and purify, and in dependence on our levels of accumulation and purification, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can guide us. Or to turn that around differently, in dependence on our accumulation and purification, we'll be receptive vessels to the guidance from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
One day, Kanshi, Yirap Dangchena, Didibu, Devi Lava Pels.
The 35th verse, looking at the first two lines, by contrast, whoever has a clear mind of faith, its results will increase far more.
One day, Ganshi, Yirap Dangchena, Side, China Janshu Simba Della, and the Janshu Simba Tegi, Yunin, Jige, Samda, Jesu Iranche, and Delia, Deva Jevaina, and the Jebu Arayungri Lambda. That Jebu, that Deshigi, that Janshu Simba never China, Divo Patumeba Sabigi, Jig, Gudile, Janyu, Mason, Divo Sabe, Nuba Dele, that Janshu Sempa Delia, Janshu Sempi, Yunden Tong, Delia, and Jim Gasore, Yunden Ton, Delia, Yunden Jambia Ton, Jesu Iran, Janshu Sempa Delia, Deva Jevaina, Delia gave about them about Jebudi Shukcheva Sagores, Nubache Sagores, Gawa Shukche Sagores, she was Sagor, D. Jebu, Devi Lapa Pelasidi, D. Jebudi, and Delia Lapachi. Dijinyawa Jegi, Nubatilla, Labage, Dijinyawa Jegi, Dibasa, Nubatidang, that Jesu Irajin and Debakebe, Dibanidi, Nubachishon Zibana, Gavasagi, Debadi, Jansembala, Casu Yendea Tontella, Jig, Debakebana, dead Nubati Chigri, or they will have a palace.
These two lines, by contrast, whomever has a clear mind of faith, its results will increase far more. This is comparing the previous verse to the opposite, the converse situation. So in the previous verse, we saw that if someone has a malicious thought or malicious intent or acts upon that towards a bodhisattva, they will incur great negativity. Here, it's being compared to someone who has an appreciation for the incredible qualities of a bodhisattva, who rejoices and appreciates these good qualities of the bodhisattva. Now, if we compare the karmic result that is incurred by these two different attitudes, these two different thoughts, actually, not only is the difference one being non-virtuous and the other being virtuous, the karmic result of the virtuous thought is significantly greater than the karmic result of the non-virtuous thought.
Janshu Sembigi, and the Janshu Sim Yamlin Chevada, Simjan Tamji, like Pando Dusu Chigore, do the number of conditions, Simjan Tamje, Dumaj, Sayat and Digi to be Dus Nangore, Simjan Tamjo, Koyu Dumala Jajia, Sanga Salako, Dus Nangor, Be Yapore, Chisan Janshu Sim Yamlin Che, the Donetane, she was Yapore, some J, some other, Sosugi, that Be Yapore Sembe, the Niki Kiodo, Soso in Delia, the Niki, Tobiago, Daniel, Dumadi Pa, Sukhu, Cheriche. Numade Toyage Shuk Church de Janju Semin Yamlen Che, Janju Semin Yamlen Che, Di Yamlen Jebalatene, and Paji to Yamlen Jebu, and San Yokoba Togurua, Jebu San Yokoba Toy, Soso Rarang, that Dingi Deva, Tartuga Deva, Topsava Maze, Digi, Semjan Tamje, and Gedina, do the number of Semjelia, and Digi Juviata, and Jedunga say, Tablam Danger, Semjen, Dead Jangle Debaya, and Tarvata Tamji Kimbo Vale. Pando, Jiki, the social masse, the Niki Yamlin Jibu, social Juma, Digi Bottom Juma Maze, the Simjan Tamjila Digi Juma, Jugorva, then is a Divu Lava Tes. The Jinawa Jedi, Jansembala, and some Jinawa Jedi, Nyawa Sosoran Gazella, Sosora Dunga Junior, the Batsamato, Sosora Dunga, Shalia Chasan Dunga Jas Marva. Sosu Dunga Gaziniana Kawasan, Noire Mato, Sosu Noy, the Shantalaya, Semjan Dala Devalia, Diki, Dungal Parties, and Kangates, Gayomare, Sosu Dunga, Jibut Madiomaro. That day, Janju Simgi, the Niki, the Janju Simgi, Debotilla, Tato Sanji Govan Toyed, Sosu Digi, Bottom, 지게 타두게 대화 토바마세 샘전 당래 대바 뻗으면 발레 디규트체 안데 제투고라 제가 라바 패시오지 개발 제발해서 제보디 디 제보 대별 라바 패세지 라바 패다데 되는 시에서 뭐
So earlier it was explained why it is so greatly non-virtuous to have malicious thoughts towards a bodhisattva. So then now let's look at why it is so greatly beneficial to have wholesome virtuous thoughts towards a bodhisattva. So such a person will have a mind of clear faith, a mind recognizing the incredible qualities of a bodhisattva, and not just recognizing them as being aware of them, but having a deep and sincere appreciation for those good qualities, the good qualities of the bodhisattva, holding in their heart each and every being, and wanting to help them in the most important of ways, leading them, guiding them to attain their own liberation or enlightenment, and the bodhisattva committing to do so until each and every single sentient being attains this enlightened state, and doing so with minds of love, compassion, and exalted wisdom. So recognizing and appreciating, rejoicing in these qualities, that alone leads to vast stores of merit. But not only that, as when we looked 2 or 3 weeks ago in how to rejoice, we saw that one doesn't only praise and recognize the good qualities of the bodhisattva, but that also leads to a yearning for and a determination to follow them, to have them as one's role model, as one's, not just as one's guides, but as one's role model, in that one commits to becoming a bodhisattva too. So one, through recognizing the qualities of a bodhisattva, one determines, I myself will emulate them. I also will become a child of the Buddha. I will help the bodhisattvas fulfill their goal of helping each and every being. So here, by recognizing the qualities of the bodhisattvas, one gives rise to determination, I will generate bodhicitta too. And that then leads to one eventually doing so. When bodhicitta then arises within one in a manner that's uncontrived, one now is striving with sincerity to become a Buddha in order to alleviate the suffering of all beings. So now as a bodhisattva, one is striving for one's own enlightenment, but in order to help others, which means along one's entire path of spiritual development, one helps countless sentient beings. So therefore, one vast stores of merit is accumulated by having a mind of clear faith towards bodhisattvas and their mind of bodhicitta. So if we contrast this then to the previous verse, where someone has a malicious intent towards a bodhisattva, perhaps even acts on that, they create vast negativity, and if that is not purified and they fall into the hells, they alone will suffer. In the hells, they're not harming others. The suffering is all intensely experienced oneself. One doesn't harm others. But so that's the negative ripening result. But the positive ripening result is so much greater, because not only are you benefited, but as you spiritually develop, in particular when you become a bodhisattva, you help limitless beings, and thereby the karmic result is so much greater, because instead of just one being suffering, limitless beings are benefited. Therefore, the results, as we have in the second line, will increase far more. The virtuous results of having a wholesome attitude towards a bodhisattva is far greater than having malicious thoughts towards a bodhisattva.
Then, Geshe namla dogal chempekyang dipa michunggewa ngangi phese.
The verse concludes with these 2 lines. For bodhisattvas, even in greatly adverse situations, no negativity will arise. Rather, virtue naturally increases.
Da Geshe namla dogal chempekyang sededa Geshe janju semba sedelia shangi shandagi pene nyoba cheba tang anchi kuwa deba la soba tang kaze chebe ina da ngarang sulina mi shanda chigi nyoba cheba tang chigi gyunju cheba chena pa lan le anchi gyunju cheba pa chu khong lang da pa khong lang len ja gyap chen chu nyoba chena pa le nyoba ye ge len gyap go wa dang ar chule 다 전주 선발에 되네 말이지. 전주 선발이야 시행기 배는 녀바 시행기 배 전주 선발은 녀바 견주제다 녀바게 배즉 되네게 찹침을 도걸 침보도 찹침보로 제배나 배 침보로 제배이나 양세대 디 전주 선발디기 디기 랜르파 녀바 제게 찹을야 녀바 제와 선배 삼로마 호제 디 찹을 갈고서 시행이야 닌제 선배 닌제 대술래 닌제 공야다 델레 잠바다 제와 공야 안델레 펜버두야기 네베 랜레야 파 펜버두야기 두시는 거래 제래 제사디네 지가소르데 쇠베냠네 쇠바냠네 제거로와 데니게 지고레스 예세 남로 도갈 침비 장세디 도갈 침보세 네바 가지 숙침보 제바 이나 저거 장세디 디기 네베 랜이야 아니 잠니제다 잠니지 고미야다 델레 펜디두 거래 제래
For Bodhisattvas, even in greatly adverse situations, no negativity will arise, rather virtue naturally increases. So when Bodhisattvas experience greatly adverse situations, perhaps when they're helping others, people relate to them with ingratitude or take advantage from them. When a Bodhisattva is trying perhaps to practice material generosity and someone just steals everything that they're wanting to give, or maybe the people criticize the Bodhisattva or physically assault the Bodhisattva, how do they respond? Well, what's clear is how we respond. This we know. We tend to get upset. We may well respond in kind, but a Bodhisattva never does. Bodhisattva will never respond in kind. So this would generally be referred to as the practice of patience. But how this would be experienced is the arisal of virtuous minds such as compassion, love, wisdom. These guide the response. So therefore, no matter what great adverse situations a bodhisattva arises, they never respond in the way that we ordinary beings do. Rather, they respond only with compassion, love and wisdom.
dine enzada digwa michung gewa ngangi phese jesan chulya ganesi nyoba cheda dine ge gurde da nyoba cheba ine palya jamba dan sewa nije gomba da palo khoro malaya da nyobe samama jeba da dubo diwa yongwa mares dubo jingwa mares dibo michung mares diwa meba majung mares ane gewa ngangi phedu go res gewa ngani ngangi ganesi pheorsen 파줄레 잠바다 자와 곰샤라 잠바다 자와 곰 안니지 곰 잠바 곰 델리아 펜베 두바인자 아니 개와디 난기 페고래 개와디 베직 시우지 개와 덮쳐 자르고 그래서 디버미 좀 개와 난기 페스 제산 셴기 전유선발야 녀바체바다 데니기 지질리에도 전유선비게 델리아 녀바체게 출르 녀바체데 파를 잡들려 파 잠니 조금이야다 펜버주야다 펜버주여도 아니 소소리 디버 마사와 마세 개와다 난기 페고래스.
Here we can imagine any kind of being the recipients of any kind of non-virtuous or adverse situation, anything that we have experienced or observed. We can imagine how we either have responded or we may respond. But a bodhisattva will never respond in that way. Their response is just ones of love, compassion, and wisdom, completely free of anger or animosity of any kind. So therefore, because their response is freed of any affliction such as anger or animosity, no non-virtue is accumulated. But it's not that they're mentally passive. Love and compassion and wisdom arises. Therefore, their virtue naturally increases.
어디나지 야야야 계세남라 도가 침비 장세디 지게 전수선바디기 시행기 시행리에 판도주도 가리아 다야지 강아만 오지 태다 강아시고 소수기 소리야 년아 뒤비게 강아 첨부 최지 응고로 받아 전선발에 되네 시행리에 판바 주야래 되네 강아 첨부 쉬우지 변에 용바이네 지사 전수선바디기 다 강아 태그도 패 셈 shum네 아니 직다 용사말 선비게 삼로균에 기고 말다와지 안디 삽러가서 다 지게 되네기 존주다 인도 쇠비냠는 Bendigo dunga dando limbe seba se jorwa dunga dando limbe seba chola nga sing seba shenlia che pa dus chebe je labya da shenji dunga digi shenle pando dubdige sosolya ji bene saya ji jenigi 튕기엔당 안 되니게 아직 강하면 오 저도 갑을 되니게 강하 전도 갑을야 니 셈슈 차야다 되니게 잡을야 안직도 지금 쇠비 거면 쇠비 동화 당도려야 돼 되는 쇠보 거면다 아니 지금 쇠보 거면다 전주에 나봐 되니게 셀야 지제라 디 판도르에 배워버려 셈비게 전주에 냠는디 나봐 패두고 그래 제가 되니게서 안 되니게 개왕한게 피고 그래 제가 되니게 개왕한게 피고 그래야지
When bodhisattvas are engaging in activities to help others, almost certainly they will experience harm. This will happen. They are intentionally engaging with afflicted beings, the objects of their compassion. And therefore, it is to be expected that sometimes, perhaps even often, they will receive harm, perhaps verbal, such as criticism, or perhaps even physical harm. So this will not come as a surprise to the bodhisattva. Moreover, the way that they will respond is spontaneously. Patience arises in that their mind will stay undisturbed in the face of this greatly adverse situation. And this isn't a mere passive state of their mind being open and spacious, but rather they will hold in their heart this being that is acting towards them in a harsh manner, the being is criticizing them or even physically assaulting them. Deep love and compassion will arise for the suffering mother sentient being before them. And accompanying this will be strong, joyous perseverance that's expressed in the sense of a determination to help any way, both in that moment as well as going forward, the strengthening the determination to spiritually develop so that they can be of ever greater benefit to others. This recognition of the immense suffering of beings, how beings create causes for their own further suffering, will serve to strengthen the bodhisattva's resolve to spiritually develop and help others more. So therefore, no matter what harm is directed towards them, the bodhisattva will only respond with help and love and care.
Denigi Janju Simbalia, Shenji, New Setan, Ganga Kachi Nada, and the Rangi, Jig Ranglia, and Jig Ganga Denigi, Jig Shendun Jibi Kablia, and Jig Ganga Kazi, Jubi, Ganga Chimokazi, Jubina, Simshu Machapada, Shenlia, Jikanshil, Sobokum, Suviniam, to go Rechi, Suviniam, Shenji, Nuba Chevaina Delia, Pa Koromalo, Sobokum, Jamzeokum Yada, Ralia, Denigi, maybe Shengi, that's also Jin, Shen to Jebala, Ganga Kazi, Tevena, Delia, Sobato, Jundukum, Luciam, to go Rechi, Dineza, Ganga Lamdu Kerry, Yamin now to go, Ganga Lamdu Ker to go Rechi, Chesanda Ganga Lamdu Kerche, Dineza. 당은 지강아 남도 캐지도 신당 도고레스 제단데 장주 심비기 캐주 연데 디 제투바디 가르세네 장주 심 냠는 제가 장주 심 냠는 집에 뉴비 dob기도 신지 도고레스 송로하다.
So these two lines illustrate how the bodhisattva transforms suffering into the path to enlightenment, or perhaps better, transforms the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment, in that their mental path, which is bodhicitta, comprising of love and compassion, this is only strengthened by the experience of these adverse circumstances. So therefore, unlike ourselves who respond in an afflicted way, the bodhisattva, their resolve, their mental path, only grows in strength by these adverse circumstances, powered by the joyous perseverance that's delight in their spiritual development, their virtuous activities. This powers their determination to quickly become a Buddha, so as to alleviate the suffering of beings.
Dene gala semji damba rinjinde geba diukula chasa shings. Tsigani.
Could you send them on? Thank you. So moving to the 36th verse of the first two lines, I prostrate to those in whom the sacred, precious mind has been born.
제시지와라 쳔보 그런 거 송거로와다 제가 두 전에 전주 셈비기 전주 셈기 개최다 연대 또 삼다 되네기 삼다도 강라 셈비 담바 린젠데에서도 되네기 전주 셈세데 셈전 탐제 동아자다 셈전 디기 주비야 셈전 탐제 산주 고바 토비 치료도 안 셈전 산예스도 고비 치료도 하산 남다의 군대 나제 셈전 탐제 산주 고바 토벌쇼 세베 전주 셈디기 개최 연된 된시여 바래 되네 여바자다 전주 셈 되네기 개바디고 되네기 전주 셈데에서 전주 셈데 아니 셈비 담바 린첸스데 담바 셈나네 셈메 상보 초도 교바 데레 라바 메바 림보치 나지 림보치도 나지 자 림보치를 때네 디기 주야 변조가 가는 두투에서 되네게도 림보치 전주 셈데 림보치 발선에 셈제 탐지기 동화세야다 셈제 탐지기 디기 띵이 깨와치 말하다 미고 와토베네 전주 셈 공발네 톱도 거래 제가 탈비 타 동화 탐지에단 제제 타도 산지고 와토에 전주 셈데라 전주 셈데 하바 메와자 림보치 중앙에 디기 띵이 대화 중내기 림보치 전주 셈데에서 강라 셈비 담바린젠데 제가 되네게 전주 셈바는 유규를 끼르게 셈기 전주 셈바들 린첸데 되네 키슈 되네시 개바 디구라 차살로선 되네게 계제 냠 되네게 전주 셈 규라게 냠는 제도가 전주 셈바들이야 에 안에 류가 이수묘거네 안에 지게 구송 전주 셈비게 연대 전비 토네 안에 야 차색이 인소래 시월라 이제 차세 수세 자주 시월라에서 차세에서
So here as we come to the conclusion of this first chapter, Shantideva expresses, I prostrate to those in whom the sacred precious mind has been born. So he's here having now, in these preceding 35 verses, reflected on the remarkable qualities firstly of bodhicitta, and thereafter he's praised and rejoiced those in whom the sacred and precious mind of bodhicitta has arisen. So he's recognizing that there is no more precious or jewel-like mind. There's no more precious mind than bodhicitta. There's no jewel quite like bodhicitta. Recognizing that these beings that he's holding before him, these remarkable bodhisattvas who have the welfare of the entire world in their hearts, he with his body, his speech and his mind, he prostrates to them, pays homage to them, recognizing that they have as their determination the welfare of every being. They have as their determination to guide each being to attain a state freed of suffering. Recognizing these remarkable beings and this incredible quality that they have developed within, he prostrates to them with his body, speech and mind.
제가 디니게 전주 셈세에 자 침보슈 제 셈전 탐지기 된다려 펜버든 셈상보 딜레 하바메레 제가 현리에 펜버 주고나 전주 셈 규례이나 현리에 판도 침보게 좀 두고래 제가 다시 체디디기 마세 개와 침마 하다 미고만 하루 산지고만 토야 될래야 현 셈전들 산지고만을 qo야 돼야 전주 셈 규례 때문에 전주 셈 디도게 제두고래 소소라나 셈전 탐지기 되나 산지고만 토야 돼야 전주 셈디 공부될 때도 두고래 되나 전주 셈 봤어야 돼 셈상보 초도 교바 되네게 림보체 딜레 하와지 매바래 제가 되네게 규례 된제 냠술래니게 전주 셈 받베 야고래 되네게 될야는 차색이 있는 전주 차색 소어와 되네 자다 안줄래 갈럽고 럽지 난고라서네 제가 전주 셈비기 전주 셈기 개최다 연대도 스테 두스테네 안에 전주세 냠는 지겐 전주세 받베 야고래 스베 전주세 바 냠는 지겐 전냠는 지겐 전주세 바 대설이야 안 두세네 대바자다 안 된디고 콘주나실라 바데 미지에 되는 냠는 지경 토벌쇼 선배가 삼다제 내려야는 전주세 바야 안 자세고래 단달라 마음으로 두세네 랍제 경주 두세 고래 세지바 난고르와다.
So how we should take these two lines. is we too have, through having progressed through this entire chapter, seeing that the tremendous benefits that the generation of bodhicitta leads to for both the individual practitioner, that bodhisattva, as well as for all beings, we should hold the generation of bodhicitta as our desired goal, as our determined goal, recognizing that whomever generates this sacred, precious mind in their continuum, they'll be forever guided by this mind of bodhicitta. Love, compassion, and wisdom will always guide this being. And moreover, whomever has generated bodhicitta within them, this whomever thereafter encounters this bodhisattva, they will be impacted by this sacred jewel-like mind. And they will be impacted in a beneficial way that only doesn't benefit them in the immediate moment, but through their connection with this bodhisattva, they will be guided directly and indirectly to attain a state freed from suffering. So recognizing these remarkable qualities of bodhicitta and the beings who have generated this sacred jewel-like mind within them, faith will arise within us, a faith or a trust in the qualities of this mind. And this we should generate in a stable way and express it as a determination to strive to become bodhisattvas ourselves. And the final two lines in the verse, I take refuge in these sources of happiness who connect to happiness, even those who harm them.
jamnije samda sosul zewe sam zewache jam chik jambache antelya anzulia anchi digi tubege tablam dewale gogugo rese de gala neba cheya ndedewa sede sosul pa janji semba neba cheda janji sembi su neba che sabla su neba che sabla jamnije komje sosul ya digi dugo rese 제가 디기 두고자 다 나아줄 디기 가로선 세디리 디기 안겨와지만 하다미고 방토야 타도 타비고바 탐지김고 방토야게 대화디 띵이 대화디 간줄이야 두벌지고 그래서 제가 디니기 두벌제바자 땅아줄 디기 중니디 다 디기 요소 유 전시선바 텔레디는 가서 디기리고 와서 제가 디기 중니레스 전시선바 디기 나아줄 샘전 탐질래 디기 중요하게 대외 준익이래서 디마제 샘전 상기 고파 토야 돼야 상기 고파 상기를 된 전시선 냠는지 말리고래 세상 타도 띵기 대와 상기 고파 돼야 돼 전시선 발된 일리고서 전시선 바디 상기 고파 토야게 규례해서 규례 대 중에서도 규례해서 그래 규례 상기 고파 토야 규 상기의 규례 샘전 탐제 동할 저제 타바 탐제 김be 고파 토야다 동할 하다 미 고파 토야 규칙고래서 예외 중에 되는 인사다 전시선만 혈려야 잡수치 샘전 탐지기 동화세의 규제하다 상계고바 탈도 상계고바 또 규제기 전시선바들의 잡수주의 인소다 예외 중에들 잡수치에서.
These final two lines, I take refuge in these sources of happiness who connect to happiness, even those who harm them. So the third line in the Tibetan is our fourth line. This follows on from what we looked at earlier, that no matter what harm bodhisattvas is directed towards a bodhisattva, they will only respond with kindness, with gentle care. They will never respond in an ordinary afflicted manner, but rather they will help in response to whatever harm they experience. And in fact, any harm just causes their love and compassion for beings to grow. And thereby, through this ever-growing love and compassion for beings, they connect them to the paths through guiding them. No matter what they experience from beings, their response is an ever-growing determination to guide beings to cultivate the paths in their own continuum. And in this way, the impact that bodhisattvas have on others as a source of happiness is that they are a source or a cause of all happinesses, whether they are happinesses that are experienced in this life, ordinary mundane happiness, or the happiness that arises with the generation of a path, which is the primary goal of the bodhisattva, to guide beings to generate paths in their continuum and thereby experience, it's the same word, happiness or bliss. So therefore, bodhisattvas can be sources of worldly happiness as well as the happiness or bliss of the paths. Because the objective of the bodhisattva is to be a cause for the bliss of the paths, in particular the bliss of liberation and enlightenment. That is the role they want to play in the lives of suffering beings. They want to be the cause that guides beings to attain the bliss of liberation and enlightenment.
펜렌 다바마도 네버 파기고 말 되니게 전주 셈바 겹치 세송조 진진주 셈비 키주에 되는 전주 셈 냠렌지 행기 다 키주에 되는 요래 사지 지순도 당한 쪽에 전주 셈바 나쪽에다 뭐소직 나쪽에다 뭐소도 통고하고 말와다 이내다 전주 셈비 연된 당한 쪽에 두신에 배네 여름지로 지 삼다베나 다 여름제 베기 개합디 게미기 쟁와체 안에 직델이야 안지게 건비게 별이야 직 미망고 직 제수야다 안에 지게 건범망고 떠야다 강아 봐도 멤버제여로다 제여 땅아주다 배 게미배 독자라 쇼체라 콩로나야다 판직 녀바기 와지 용고르데 여름지게다 예술야 닌지고미야다 닌지고미야다 델야 안에 지게 네비게 철이야 펜바를 펜디주야 근데 지게 게밀이야 파수 두시네 다짐 베베디게 게밀이야 몰로게다 데니 쯔디갑라 소수기 김체당 무이니수 라체베 김체네 덴베 토네 니수디파 지시네 콘솔야 두스제고레스 마도 기제 칙엠바 칙두자라야다 안지기 데니게 뇌세제디 지교 말에 세경험치 디우스네 가나제 깔음는 거로 제자디 수 네바 가지 제베네 내야 안지 네베 잡려 두시네 뇌는 마기바제 아니 펜베 삼다디 제 양주도 스나딩 아주 통쇼스교바 최고래 나베네 별야 강함 오르네데 별야 소소라랑기 안지게 리오 메세다 제네 메세다한 뭐 주라 야라 중으로 와다면 야당 뭐지야 마시 중으로 와 디스 차장게다 여름지로 버지게다 지당한테 맞아다 직 제거라니 제거라서데 두제 제거라서 데니게 마지스 마송 바이나 데니 미래 소소 솔로 땅데 솔로 딩한 디스 차상게 체매 시유 소소게 솔로 네바레마도 게미기 잘라지 네바 땅에 네겐 지가 미질레 네바 지가 제요 말 디가선 여름지 깔롭나샤베잔 디 깔르지시네 샤레 처마제 바라와 셴 소수기 솔로다도 되는 소수기 매바진 레고나도 매자 다야다 직미스야다 차주는 시부 제투야 제와다요 제투야 차디거로 와 가선 소소 솔로던 거로 와 지난 디마제바제 안지게 되니게 지금 미 세솔로다 되니게 강아지야 파도 샤네 김미기 잘라지레 나는 강하고 싶네요 맞제바제 소수기 나 루세 메세드네 야름지 구시 땜바다 안 야름지 별에 요도 패고고 세네 두시네 야름지 별에 되니 슈고에 세야데 그 안지기 시디 고고에 세야데 되니게 계ገብ제 디마도 게메 독자래 게명 직직 시오체서 되니게 직직 남발랍제 되니 제요 말 디쳐서 야름지게 깔롭나위기 일단 디 두스 차고르바 되니 산다 야름지게 두시는 지게 나요도 제가 직수 녀바 가지 집에네 파 녀바 제게 잡라 안 잠니지 고미하다 디기 두고래 세디 두스체네 삼다면은 아주 경험지기 두스체네 보이게 강하다 경험지기 잘해 나타나다 두스체네 하는 아주 기타베네 다디서 네 세고 하고 두에게 네소를 도와
So what we see here in these verses is how bodhisattvas do respond towards any adverse circumstances that they encounter. The only response that arises within them is ever stronger love, compassion, and wisdom. So we, as was mentioned earlier, we don't really have any idea as to who is or is not a bodhisattva. But we can have confidence in His Holiness because we can see how His Holiness has lived his life. So we can see from how His Holiness has lived his life.
Yeah, that got chicken na got language to a yomar, the got ocean, chick assembly ocean, sana, chin yomar.
So it just gets a bit emotional sometimes. So again, it's just reminding me things do not exist in the way they appear to the mind, and therefore just take it easy, just relax a little bit. Anyway, I'll try.
Guess I'll have to say in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can see from how His Holiness lives his life as an example of this, in that he holds all who come to him in his heart and treats them all equally. So of course he fled Tibet, and he's received countless refugees recounting their experiences from Tibet. But his response has always been love and compassion to the people before him, but also guiding the Tibetan people to only respond to the communist Chinese, also with love and compassion and understanding. In fact, there's an insistence that is how the Tibetans should relate to the Chinese, the communist Chinese. And he sets that example that we never hear him speaking harshly about the jailers and the torturers, but rather encourages others to follow his example and also hold them equally in his heart. And when we look at maybe about 15 years ago, when with the protests in Tibet, and those forms of protest were self-emulation, His Holiness never directly or indirectly encouraged it. But we did see that these people the Tibetan people who were touched by his example, when they protested, they did so in a way that brought harm to no one else. Not to their property, not to another person. And rather that their request or their motivation wasn't for harm to come to anyone at all, but rather just that His Holiness can return to Tibet.
Nene, la diring anjige lobsang dige karasungu do labna da Geshe Thubten Rabten an che kanga shengi chule rangli ne ba ka che chebe ne Delia Subokom che Andelia and Jige Jamni je Pale Subokom Jamna Injicom Shenle Pember to Henjigo Pember to Goddess. Deneza and Denige to God, Chena Deneza, Tibo Saege Sablaya and Gawa Bottom Shagores. And Dinza and Denige Soso Kanga Gazitevine Kanga Digipa and Jige Seba down to Kanga Dunga down to Limbu, Seba Comjene, and Denigi Seba Comje, Denigi, Junju in Yamlan Jeodu, and the Gawangi Pigores, or Denere. Deneza Janju Sim Sadi, that Sim Sangbo Dile Laba Meba, and Denigi rinang rinpoche nashin denige janju sim nyamlen je ndigelia cha cha na japsu jo bare saje de sonne da donda la labja la de sonje da labja la kar son ngara zo du chen janju sim gi yende na janju sim bi gi keje yende du sam da je ande la janju sim ba ya cha cha na deba je ya ande ji kyamro japsu jo ya ande gi zone 소수인의 뒷발이야 전시심비 냠는 제반에 콘도 냠는 제반 얘기한 된듯이 냠는 제 도발쇼 선비게 몰람다야 안 소수인의 되니기 전시심비 규례기에 된다려야 안 강투도 검이야 검체 냠는 제와디 계신불에 세팅해서 안달랍지 소어로지 다 디링이 손야지게 만서 랍지 두는 거다 제산 되니게 제바 있나 개와 빠도면 바사고래 세제 대전 전시심비게 최외 삼라께나 디바 빠도면 바사기도 와 딜에 하바다 되니게 전시심이 파연삼 전시심이야 전시심발에 겸로제 전시심발에 차세 되니 제바는 다 파연 빠도면 바사기래 세제
To summarize what we've looked at tonight, some of the most important points we looked at was how bodhisattvas transform adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment through the way that they respond to harm directed towards them. No matter what harsh adverse circumstances they experience, their response is always the same. Their love and compassion and wisdom only grows. So instead of responding in a way that accumulates non-virtue, they accumulate immense virtue because of their patience and their joyous perseverance. Recognizing that as how remarkable those beings are, and that they are so remarkable because of this sacred, precious mind that has been born within them, we should cultivate the determination to strive to follow their example, strive to generate bodhicitta within us as quickly as possible. And also accompanying that, generate the determination that whilst we are striving to become bodhisattvas ourselves, that we commit to never harming others, but always interacting with others with care and kindness. And as this verse expresses, seeing these qualities of bodhicitta and those in whom this sacred precious mind has been born, to them we should prostrate. To the mind of bodhicitta we should prostrate, as well as the bodhisattvas who hold it, and take refuge in this mind of bodhicitta and those in whom it's been given born, striving ourselves to emulate their example.
Janju Simbi Juba la Juba le, Janju Simbi Panyan Sheba Xie Jawa de Liu Dangbo was, that Liu Dangbo Dang to Zosaver, Dima Loshana.
And then the final sentence, it's in Tibetan, in verses, the final sentence will be the name of the chapter. So this name of the chapter is the benefits of bodhicitta.
나는 나 되니기 주님의 판연 쉐바디 정말 나 닝보들라 나 전시심 세디 도시는 삼다이로 그지 강리야 쉐바나지 소수기 지게 디바지 따고에네 전시심 공부에 공부하는 디바 따투 그래서나 다바 지금 심진기 개와지 말하다 미고바 토야다 산유고바 토바이네 전시심 공부하는 도구래서나 되니기다 전시심기다 대바 판연이 빠도 매번 손야디 되니기 가지고 지나 삼다 다 삼다네 되는 소소이네 어다 되니기 전시심 판연디게 통네 삼다 되니기 제수 일하지야다 근데 지게 전시심 바 냠는 제게다 상제다 전시심 바 탐질이야 되니기 냠는 제데 냠는 제발 빼야 오래 심비게 대바지야다 근데 되니기 가지리나 뜸바 상제기 되니기 전시심 지구네라데 가지리야 도스네 최 랍자 도스나와데 깨진 친구이 셈베게다 전시심이 패연다 전시심이 냠는 제가 상제다 전시심 바데게야 아니 저 연대 지수 제 연대 점바다 깨진 지수 점배 삼다 되니 자당이네 셈자 탐지거든나 상제고바 토버게 전시심이 곰투이 곰바치기 셈베게다 듬바게 and the nigger dumbakene, the English Jesusum, the nigger Yamlan Kom Jabala, and the Lamada, Idam, and the Jesusambatanji, Chin Labroche, the Molamja, 두치네 안 소소이네다 니데니데야 저게 당보 저게 심전 담제 대화의 템바쇼 심비 니제 고미하나 심전 동안다 자와쇼 세비게다 가소레 가서 대화 템바쇼 세비 잠바곰 심전 동안다 자와쇼 세비 니제곰 다 심전 동안다 자와나 디게 템바데 녜지지 심전 저 코르 동안라 저제 상이설로 끄기인 셈비 하삼데기에 네 삼나지다 디네 삼다네 당에 심자다 상이 산조고파 도버쇼 셈비게 삼로지 두치네야네 징아죄 징이네야래야 디네 직자야디 당한 저기다 전주신이 파연시 비게 당한 저 삼단도 소수기 냠는지 냠수 랑와데 라란타와디 디차고로와 디네체자 디네기 돌려야죠 직배수셔야디 계시물에 에서셔야데 다 되는마 다 니번만 저게 다시 디바샤고 리우세 된마지 다 전주심 귤에 깨발라 녀래야 아주 초사 집장 고고래 에세데 초사 집장 고고래 제상 초사 집장지 양라 dwi비고네 초사 소다 집장 소디마 근데 디바샤고 리우된마 송제 된마 슈고래 다 된마 전주심 편연시에서네 다 전주심 귤에 깨기 된다라 초사 집장기 간에간에 제고고에 메디 디고다 된체만 마주셔야래.
We've now concluded the first of the 10 chapters of engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life. This presents the benefits of bodhicitta. So we've looked at this slowly, in some detail, so there was time to reflect and become familiar with the verses and their meaning. In brief, the benefits of bodhicitta are that it leads to a vast accumulation of virtue as well as, correspondingly, a purification of non-virtue. Moreover, it leads to incredible benefit for others too, in that for the bodhisattva, they will live throughout the continuity of their lives, guiding others to generate bodhicitta themselves, guiding others to attain liberation from suffering, guiding others so as to attain enlightenment. So immeasurable benefits come to others too, in relation to whomever generates bodhicitta. So these we need to reflect on so that they are very clear to us, leading to us to both rejoicing in the qualities of the mind of bodhicitta as well as those who have given rise to this mind, and thereby leading to the determination that I myself will become a bodhisattva. And with this we should also combine with the understanding in the fourth verse, that we can do this. We have all the required qualities of this precious human rebirth, so we can become bodhisattvas ourselves. It's not beyond our capacity. And thereby, with this understanding combined with the recognition of the qualities of bodhicitta, we set that as the purpose of our life, as the goal of our life. Then turn our attention towards our lama and yidam, and make supplications for their blessings, and then engage in the meditations, generating the wish, may all beings abide free of happiness, free of suffering, may beings abide in lasting, stable happiness. And reflect in this way again and again until it rises powerfully within one, leading one to determine, I take responsibility for the welfare of others. I make it my life's goal to commit to guiding others, guiding them in how to accumulate the causes for happiness and how to abandon the causes that will otherwise lead to suffering. This is my goal. But to do this, I have to become more skilled myself. I need to gain mastery over my own mind. I need to accumulate vast stores of virtue and purify vast stores of negativity. So therefore, I have to quickly become a Buddha for the sake of others. And this way, generate bodhicitta. So here then, we should reflect on the benefits of bodhicitta and then cultivate bodhicitta. And doing so repeatedly over a sustained period in this manner will lead to transformation within all of us. So next week we'll start with the second chapter, which is called the chapter of confession, but it really includes both purification and accumulation of virtue, and it's done so through the presentation of the 7 limbs. So the purpose of these first chapters is to enable us to generate bodhicitta. So now in this first chapter we've given rise to a wish to cultivate bodhicitta ourselves. The second chapter progresses us along this, the trainings to generate bodhicitta, because in order to generate it, we need to accumulate vast stores of merit and purify past negativities. So that's what we'll come to next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Then thank you very much. Thank you.